So before starting this video, I would just like to make it clear that in the previous video, in question number 55, I have wrongly used the term 18S-rDNA. It is actually 18S-rRNA because the rRNA, that is the ribosomal RNA, has very strong significance these days in molecular taxonomy. The 16S-rRNA and 18S-rRNA are highly conserved and they are nowadays maximally used in molecular taxonomy. So hello everyone, welcome to the fifth part of the 2015 question paper of MSc Botany entrance exam of Delhi University. So starting with the question, a link between glycolysis, Krebs cycle and beta oxidation of fatty acid is, so the answer is D, that is acetyl CoA. And you can see this figure in which I have shown acetyl CoA as the central molecule coming from the glycolysis, from the fatty acid oxidation as well as metabolism, and then this acetyl CoA is used in Krebs cycle and then in the corresponding ETC and the oxidative phosphorylation. Next question, sucrose is synthesized in, so sucrose is synthesized in cytosol, and you can see this figure that I have drawn. The sucrose is the end product of photosynthesis. It is the primary sugar transported in the phloem of most plant, and you can see in the figure that out of the chloroplast, the P translocator protein, through the P translocator protein, the triose phosphate that is generated through Calvin cycle is expelled out, which then convert into sucrose and in the cytoplasm. So the answer is A, cytosol. Next question, how many ATP molecules are produced per molecule of sucrose during aerobic respiration? So the answer is C, 60. Let's see how the answer is coming as 60. See, from the substrate level phosphorylation, 2 ATP are generated in glycolysis and 2 ATP are, are direct GTP that is generated in the Krebs cycle. So this we considered as energy 1. Now through the oxidative phosphorylation, 2 NADH from glycolysis, so 2 into 1.5 ATP. If H atom coming from glycerol phosphate shuttle, we will take 1.5 ATP for NADH molecule. But if it is coming from a malate aspartate shuttle, then we will take 2.5 ATP for a NADH molecule. So in that case, it will be 2 into 2.5 ATP. So this we consider as energy 2. Now 2 NADH H positive comes from oxidative decarboxylation of pyruvate and 6 in the Krebs cycle. So total becomes 8 NADH H positive, which multiply with 2.5 ATP. This is energy 3. Now 2 FADH2 coming from Krebs cycle and 1 FADH2 yield 1.5 ATP. So total 2 into 1.5 ATP, that is energy 4. So if we do the total of all these energy E1, E2, E3 and E4, it comes out that 4 ATP from E1, 3 or 5 ATP from E2, 20 ATP from E3 and 3 ATP from E4, which total sums up to 30 or 32 ATP per molecule of glucose. Now since sucrose is made up of glucose and fructose is converted into glucose in gluconeogenesis, so in that case also another glucose molecule will be available from fructose. So if one molecule is 30 or 32 ATP, then two molecule of glucose will be 60 or 64 ATP. Hence the answer is C, 60 ATP. Next question, the major class of pharmacologically active secondary metabolite exemplified by morphine and codeine are. So morphine is one of the many and pharmacologically most important opium poppy alkaloid and obtained from Papaver somniferum, and coca plant of family Erythroxylaceae is known throughout the world for its psychoactive alkaloid cocaine. So morphine and cocaine are B, that is alkaloid. Next question, how many FADH2 and NADH molecules are produced respectively after 6 cycle of beta oxidation pathway? So one cycle of beta oxidation yields 1 acetyl CoA, 1 NADH and 1 FADH2 for every 2 carbon group removal from the fatty acid chain. Hence for 6 cycle it will be 6 NADH and 6 FADH2. So the option A will be correct. Next question, sulfur containing amino acids are. So among these, we know that cysteine and methionine are the sulfur containing amino acids. So the four common sulfur containing amino acids are methionine, cysteine, homocysteine, and taurine, although only methionine and cysteine are incorporated into proteins. Next question, which of the following statement about the control of enzyme activity by phosphorylation is correct? So first option, phosphorylation of an enzyme is not a reversible process since it is a covalent modification. No, this is wrong. Phosphorylation of an enzyme occur by protein phosphatase. No. And C, phosphorylation of an enzyme is an intracellular process and cannot occur in response to external signal. No, they actually the phosphorylation of many enzymes occur due to external abiotic and biotic stress. And the D option, phosphorylation of an enzyme results in a conformational change. Yes, this is the correct answer. So D is the correct answer because whenever an enzyme undergo phosphorylation, there is a conformational change in the enzyme. Next question, choose the correct statement about a transamination reaction. So a transamination is a non-redox chemical reaction in which there is a transfer of amino group to a keto group to form new amino acids. This is catalyzed by aminotransferases, which require participation of coenzyme pyridoxal 5' phosphate, that is PLP, an aldehyde containing derivative of pyridoxine, that is vitamin B6. The conversion of this coenzyme, to pyridoxamine 5-phosphate, that is PMP, is the reaction that accommodate an amino acid. So this is where the amino acid is added. So this conversion do not require ATP or NAD plus as a reducing power. So our answer will be D, that is during a transamination reaction it requires a pyridoxal phosphate. Next question, soil hydraulic conductivity is highest for. So the answer is sand because its soil hydraulic conductivity is highest. But let's see the explanation from this. So this actually is coming, this question is coming from the Darcy's law. So if you have attended my ecology and taxonomy paper, so in that paper where I have mentioned the soil profile and soil structure and its integrity, etc., there I have explained the Darcy's law also. The soil hydraulic conductivity is the ability of a saturated soil to transmit water when subjected to a hydraulic gradient. It can be thought of as the ease with which pores of a saturated soil permit water movement. The quantity of water movement in a direction is measured by flux, which is represented by J and is governed by Darcy's law. And this is the you can see the graph, the plot of sand, silt and clay with respect to flux on the y-axis and hydraulic gradient for the on the x-axis. And you can see that if for a particular hydraulic gradient, the sand, silt and clay the sand has the highest flux, then followed by silt and then the clay. So clay has the lowest soil hydraulic conductivity. The slope of this curve on each line gives the soil hydraulic conductivity. So the slope of the sand line, you can see on the red one is the highest, the silt is the middle and the clay is the lowest. Next question, embolism in xylem happens due to. So when in xylem the tension in water column due to excessive transpiration becomes so high that the pressure in liquid causes the dissolved air within water to expand and fill the xylem channels. This causes xylem blockage, the phenomenon known as embolism, and such xylem is called embolized xylem. And since it occurs due to excessive transpiration, the tension that has been created due to excessive transpiration, hence the answer to this will be high transpiration, that is B. Next question, fruits and vegetables lose sweetness at temperature above the temperature compensation point due to decline in. So the answer is, okay, we'll reach the answer later. Let's read the explanation first. At temperature beyond the compensation point, the photosynthesis cannot catch up with the respiration. That is, photosynthesis cannot replace the carbon used as a substrate for respiration, due to which the carbohydrate reserves start declining, causing the fruit and vegetables to lose sweetness. Hence, the answer will be B. that is due to the decline in the carbohydrate reserve. Next question, which is not an essential mineral nutrient for plants? So we know that out of these, aluminum is not an essential mineral nutrient for plant. Coming to the next question, most prevalent natural cytokinin in higher plant is? Zeatin is an adenine derived cytokinin. It was discovered in immature maize kernels and is the most abundant natural cytokinin in higher plant, and it exists in two isomeric forms, cis and trans, out of which cis being more common. You can see this figure, or you can differentiate by seeing this figure how the cis zeatin and trans zeatin looks like. So answer to our question is that most prevalent natural cytokinin in higher plant is zeatin. Next question, which is not correct for very low fluence response, VLFR? So if you have attended my lectures on in plant metabolism, this is the last unit of that lecture, where I have described the photoperiodism and that floragen hormone, etc. So there this topic comes. So very low fluence response, that is VLFR, are phytochrome mediated responses triggered by very low level of light and can be initiated with a fluence range of 0.0001 micromolar per meter square up to about 0.05 micromolar per meter square. So the option D, which says that it requires a fluence of 1 micrometer per square, is wrong. Let's read a little bit more. This range of fluence is sufficient for converting the phytochrome inactive form PR to active form PFR. An oat and Arabidopsis seedling can be germinated at VLFR. VLFR can be induced by brief flash of light of required fluence. So if you read this explanation and then you read the option, you will find that option D is wrong. This is not correct for very low fluence response. It require a very low fluence actually. So next, transport of ABA takes place through. We have read that transport of ABA occurs through both xylem and phloem. That is, both A and B is correct, because the ABA transporter genes are plasma membrane localized and encode for two large family of transporters: the ATP binding cassette transporter, which is we also known as ABC transporter, and nitrate transporter 1, peptide transporter, that is NRT1 or PTR. The ABA transporter gene promoter are xylem and phloem expressible. That is why they are transported through those xylem and phloem, because their gene promoter are highly expressible in xylem and phloem, and hence the associated transporters, that is ATP, that is ABC transporter, and NRT1 PTR are abundant in both xylem and phloem. So in the next video, we will be dealing with the detailed solution and explanation of question 76 to question 90. If you find any mistake in the solution, please do comment. Please like the video, comment and subscribe to appreciate my work. And stay tuned for more upcoming solution videos of various MSc entrance exams related to biological sciences.